Staying hydrated? You better be after today, cause your thirst for your favorite joke in the cloak to bow before Lord Bob of the Squared Pants yet a frickin' again is up for quenching. Spongebob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. Oh my 2D animated god! You gotta be kidding me! All our idolizing of this seminal cult classic has led to this. Yet another large-scale remaster of nostalgia we never escaped. Keep at it, guys! Banjo and Kazooie next, please! But tut-tut, it's the king of Nickelodeon's turn today. I've kept every single request close to my heart since that fateful announcement last year. And while I have a disturbance sprung up, I've never actually formally dissected BFBB, have I? A decade of videos and I'm still finding things wrong with me. Sacrilege to wonder, will I find things wrong in one of my favorite 3D platformers of all time? Now that I have a magnifying glass over it, does this dive deeper than HD skin? Don't even try to challenge me, SpongeBob. Even you're not readier than me. Fellow fellas and lady fellas, let's video. It's Yoshi's story to think that adapting anything, especially something outwardly dressed up for the kiddies, into an art that's likewise outwardly dressed up for a simple mind isn't all that complex. It's time you stop thinking and start feeling, cause SpongeBob's just as deceptively detailed as even one of the most well-documented genres of gaming. And right from the word once, does BFBB's story capture that so honestly. Plankton, that scheming squirt, is all over his 662nd consecutive flawless plan to snatch that Krabby Patty formula, and instead of purchasing one hamburger, he whips up a doohickey to infinitely spawn loyal robots to brute force his way to that drive-thru. And whilst relishing in his hamburger-less big dick energy, the genius forgot to flip the obey switch. Holy fish paste! I'm screaming. We're actually playing SpongeBob here. And while he and Patrick do so with their toy robots and horses, they just so happen to wish for real robots to play with. Stick the toy in a magic wishing shell, chant some funny words, and then the next morning, no way. And that's it. I'm serious and very happy. No, not because it's less work for me. It's using the signature strengths of the show for the game. A simplistic, practically naked setup with only improvised character exchanges to rely on. Hey, guess what? That's classic cartoon comedy. And taking it seriously without taking it seriously was a design choice stuffed with all the right faith. Tons of games use a nothing premise as a good excuse to lay on the jokes. But this time, it has a truly meta quality, because it's adapting from a medium that relies even more on that. It's very clever once you really look at it. So judging the story as the simple mesh of charming personality-based humor it is, I love it. It fits right in with Golden Era SpongeBob. Stop Plankton, crack jokes, play games, have fun. Perfect. You haven't a single clue how hard it's been to keep this behind lips, but at last. That's my victory screech. Rehydrated is astonishingly beautiful. Purple lamps, exotic light rays shine down to bathe my favorite multiplat ever in the glow up of the millennium. I have never seen such an appealing visual upgrade between original and remaster. The 3DS N64 makeovers, Crash and Spyro's epic return, all baby krill to this brilliant blue whale. And what makes it even better is that technology isn't the leading factor. I mean, enhanced draw distances, bigger memory capacity, better frame rates. Yeah, that's all nice stuff dictated by tech, and my beast PC wrings out every radiant pore of this sponge. But that's not at all why it impresses me. Purple Lamp's a new kid for sure, but their wise grasp on aesthetical excellence assures that everyone needs them in their tight friend circle. The art for this title is unbelievable, sporting a color palette only the Outer Worlds on PC set to Ultra can compete with. The depth, the vibrance, the detail. It's amazing. Rehydrated runs with all the vivid splendor a universe like SpongeBob's has on paper. All of it. And paints the entire seascape with eye candy sweeter than chocolate! Again, I can only speak for the Steam release. It seems most of the reviewers stuck with the less polished console versions, which is a shame that they didn't play what I played. And what I played was the best looking platformer my eyes have ever seen. And the stunning visuals reach a touch beyond god tier colors. The revamped designs of just about every character and gameplay entity, speaking personally, are a big improvement. Everyone looks great, notably Patrick. He's probably my favorite new character to play on account of just how adorable and energized he is. By God, look at him! I especially like the new look of the Planktrons, appearing far more menacing and admittedly even more stylized. I didn't expect to like their overhauls this much, but that was clearly a mistake. But it doesn't get any more brilliant than the animations. I love them. Obviously far less PS2-y, and man did they care about their work. Look at the personality, the variance. Oh, flawlessly fusing the high energy of the show's modern seasons with the engaging charm of the pre-movie era, sprinkled in with tasteful callouts to community culture. The memes are everywhere! They may have had only one job, make it prettier, but the talent and passion they had for it is the exact same caliber that Heavy Iron used to bring the game to life those 17 years ago. As a huge fan of the original and SpongeBob as a franchise, it means the world to me to see this. Not just because it's pretty, but because it's respected. Something a cash grab can't be. I want to stress, the original didn't look bad at all, but I don't know if I can even go back. It's just that awesome. I've made it as clear as invisible plastic that the efforts to faithfully replicate the brand one-to-one is ironic underwater fire, but the second you meet that milestone, all creative handicaps are clear to drop. BFBB knew that it had to be good before it got to be great. And what's greater than capturing the same energy? Creating your own. Luckily, the team was not only competent enough to adapt, but talented enough to invent. And their musical contribution to the SpongeBob universe is some of the boldest, most versatile, highest quality audio the franchise has ever claimed. The trio of composers on board developed a soundtrack so good, it didn't even need remastering. We'll get to that in a sec, but I have to gush now. It's remarkable how loyal each piece is to the license, yet how artistically independent they all feel. Almost every track sounds like it came directly from scenarios in the show. Laid back, bubblier than Bubble Buddy himself, with that infectious Saturday morning hype seasons 1 through 3 still spread across our faces. Bikini Bottom, Downtown, Jellyfish Fields, the Mermalair, Goo Lagoon. It's all here. I was legitimately shocked to find the original show composers not part of the game's staff. It's that good. Yet the times where they clearly had to go all in on their own with tracks like Industrial Park, Kelp Forest, SpongeBob's Dream, any action platformer would kill for this kind of scope and quality. And the Chum Bucket Labs, practically a boot camp on Terminator soundtrack. It's so giant and epic. To clear it up, Rehydrated doesn't remix or overhaul any of the soundtrack. At least not dramatically. They simply swapped it to a stereo waveform and added in subtle instrument tune-ups. It's only really noticeable with the Rock Bottom and Final Boss OSTs. It's the same epic audio, by and large, just in technical HD quality. Honestly, exactly what I hoped for. What would ordinarily be the most difficult part, I can't say it's gonna be very hard to lay out this fish dinner. It's easy to gauge what SpongeBob's greatest gift to gaming is all about. It's an old school 3D platformer a la Mario 64. And although the hip and trendy, and but Use that as leverage to fist fight your childhood for reasons. Well, tough nails, Reg. You're punching at bubbles. Those who ran the old schools didn't mask it all as a glorified business with no humanity for students. They did well to inspire them via fun. Don't make me sing it, guys. Inspiration's the greatest teacher behind failure. And since, spoilers, this is nowhere near the latter, inspiration's the prime takeaway. Battle for Bikini Bottom is incredibly inspired by, yes, the splendid working formula Mario pioneered, but more notably by the franchise that summoned it. I mean, it's stupid obvious. Doing insane tasks for lazy people, hoarding tons of somewhat important small things just to get one really important thing, collecting anything shiny, the currency's literally called shiny objects. You can still see those copied answers, even in water that would shrivel them and the paper to mush. Yeah, throw your shade at the top student's biggest fan, but come on! Do you know what fun means? I swear to God, I'll sing it! Questing for these randomly important knickknacks is not only still incredibly stimulating, I guess I never tire of taking free stuff, it actually makes a ton of sense given the IP. Yes, even more thematically appropriate than the god and demigods that influenced it, collecting loads of shiny trinkets for the sake of playing silly games and to fix an over-the-top problem that only happened from a comedic flash of stupidity. It kinda sounds like a cartoon. A cartoon that doesn't need a memorable story or significant message to be memorable or significant. Yes, of course that was intentional. The nuts and bolts of the Collectathon platformer is tailored so terrifyingly well to the antics of Spongebob and company. It thematically works better than even the juggernauts of the genre. I'll use the word inspiring yet again, because BFBB clearly knows this, and pulls off something all licensed games need to study. Heavy Iron used the source material as not only an example to follow proper adaptation, but to influence new ideas that add to their original experience, using iconic and even one-shot set pieces from the show as expansive levels and boss arenas to explore and fight in, add a lot to the franchise's world in a way the show couldn't possibly do, using the baseline talents of the show's main antagonist to invent your own one-of-a-kind robot enemies, embracing the show within the show to create an exclusive Mermaid Man villain. Even one-off gags and plot devices from older episodes are used as great visual jokes and quirky gameplay mechanics. You couldn't have possibly picked a better team for this job. Their love for the brand and the inspiration they gain from it sticks out brighter than a laser pointer in purgatory. And this was in 2003, when these kind of games were expected to be made awful. I can't sell this short. It is a milestone in licensed gaming adaptations, and I have the sinking feeling we would have never moved past that old rock-bottom standard of landfill filler if this game wasn't so incredibly good. Take a bow, Batman and Spider-Man. We just might have given up hope if not for this smiley-faced dish cleaner. Well, there's the hit anybody fearing I had tiptoed out of touch with this classic needed. It's time I drink more water and get back on Rehydrated. If you thought visual expansion was all it brought, gather around the campfire. As veteran as they come, I noticed a ton of alterations to the remaster during my first giant binge. I'll lay down a taste of it. First, the camera. Its universe is better. No longer having that awkward snap back to the default view, I can actually look around without mastering C-stick focus. More! There's been a bunch of small quality of life changes to the trio of playable characters. Spongebob doesn't halt his descension with the bubble wand much anymore, but also doesn't interrupt his ascension. The cruise bubble's aiming is much less limited. Bubble Bowl can be held longer and thrown farther. Bubble Bash can be used mid-air and chains into Bubble Stomp almost instantly. Tiptoeing has a dedicated button. Patrick can attack in mid-air, meaning he can actually destroy monsoons balloons and floating tikis without having to throw something. It also propels him forward at the cost of slower attack speed. Throwing stuff doesn't halt your movement. He has a quicker but shockwaveless single jump slam. Sandy's lasso is much faster and doesn't fling enemies aside and can do it in the air, meaning she can reliably destroy sleepy time bots, and her mid-air attacks are much faster. Woo! These changes are great improvements. They declunk the more limited utility they had in the original, they speed up the game, and give it even more flow. And that's not even everything. The sponge ball controls perfectly now. It's actually fun to use. All the robots got various buffs and nerfs, such as fodder keeping up much easier, attacking more frequently and harder to ditch, and Tartar now having its hitbox on just its body and better tracking in exchange for a smaller detection radius. Robots also count less on the combo stacks in exchange for slightly higher individual shiny object counts. At least, I think they're higher. Kelp Forest is much more distinguishable thanks to the visual boost, and even that infamous snag in the stone tiki puzzle is clearly solved. Combined with the music and gorgeous new look, it's easily my favorite level. The taxi system is much cleaner, with visual clues on each task and a visible world selection. Dialogue levels can now be customized in the audio options. Helpful if you just want to hear sound effects, music, or voice lines in isolation. There's a lot of little stuff like that, most of which only super nerds are gonna notice and care about, but it just adds to the package. I'm telling you guys, this is the real deal. I lied. These guys are the real deal. Battle for Bikini Bottom's bosses are more impressive on the charm aspect, I'll fully admit. Yes, they're pretty easy, but all three arena and mini bosses offer fun scenarios, amazing battle soundtracks, and have a truly entertaining energy to them. The final boss is by far my favorite, especially in Rehydrated, with one of the best final battle themes of the genre. Intense scenario, charismatic animations, and fantastically clever second phase being a platforming and combat gauntlet. Something oddly rare to see in a 3D platformer boss. Oh, and Robo Patrick's right behind it, at least in the original, more on that in a bit. The battle in Battle for Bikini Bottom is surely compelling enough to make it worth fighting, even if, once again, it's an easy victory. I can definitely tell you what's not easy: filing complaints. Come on, Snowflake, you don't start up reviews and just skip the problems. Being fair is boring sometimes. Alright, before I nibble at Rehydrated's ankle, I just want to mention that my only hangups exclusive with the original release were the things the remaster improves on. Yeah, no kidding. So we're starting off strong, but Rehydrated is not perfect. First, I'll get to the obvious. The replacement actors for Mermaid Man and Mr. Krabs are still there. Obviously, I get why Mermaid Man's the same, rest in peace, Ernest. But why in the dandruff flakes on Neptune's bald spot does Mr. Krabs still sound like raspy roadkill? I guess Clancy Brown may not have been available for the original recording call, suppose that's fine, but there are a few new voice lines for SpongeBob and Sandy in Rehydrated, so somebody clearly wasn't using all their resources. Not my Mr. Krabs. Next, the controls on the bungee hook sections are odd in Rehydrated. Maybe it's just because I'm not used to the control overhaul, but it didn't even need a control overhaul. But it's a tiny part of the adventure to begin with. Also, this happened. Was very easy to get out of, but it is a funny bug. I suppose this could be because I was so fast to binge it before a patch, but most of the kinks with Rehydrated are audio-based, on PC at least. Some cutscenes are out of sync with the old audio a la Banjo-Tooie on Xbox. Pain grunts aren't separate from flavor chat and simply play once they finish talking. SpongeBob's double jump during slides are silent for some reason, and the fish announcer didn't even commentate my final match inside SpongeBob. There are more audio quirks, but I gotta say, audio errors are almost nothing on my priority list. They didn't hinder my gameplay experience at all, but they're clearly bugs, and a certain exterminator's got a job to finish. Next, although it was never a point of huge interest for me, the multiplayer is boring. It's pretty much Mr. Krabs' dream with a weird camera angle and less entertaining. Blech. It's also unfortunate that the beta elements that they greenlit to return only only did so in this mode. Patrick's dream level, the Anchor Arms phase of the final boss, Robot Squidward, all of them were just dropped off here and told to rejuvenate planet Earth. They did not. And I guess the last personal chink in Rehydrated shining armor, it watered down the Robo-Patrick fight a little bit. They intentionally made him resemble Patrick more closely, which is fine, but the uncanny discomfort of being so unlike Patrick is largely what made me enjoy the original fight so much. That and it's far less challenging now that the Bubble Bowl actually slides along the sludge in the final phase, and said sludge is less vibrant and translucent, bogging down the atmosphere a touch. It's the only part of the game that looked more appealing in the original. But again, I stress, that's a personal taste. What am I gonna do? Rate it a 5 or a 2? Break that one out at parties, champ. You know, guys, life is kinda cool sometimes. The ongoing 4-way tie of all-time favorite 3D platformers rages on. Mario Odyssey, the Banjo Duology, and Pac-Man World 2 are sweating more than usual, and for very good reasons. Battle for Bikini Bottom on its own gets better every time I play it. Just studying how impressive it actually is on an adaptive level. Its immaculate faith and loyalty to one of the kings of cartoon comedy, and how the fun song just keeps increasing in volume every time. It's a masterpiece to all who understand it. And if I didn't make it clear enough, the best Spongebob game of all time got even better. None of you should be surprised to hear me say Rehydrated is my definitive preference. I truly do not understand or relate to the oddly negative feedback of this remaster at all. The gorgeous visuals, progressive updates, just my god. It's gonna be a challenge to go back. And you need to understand, swaying me from the original so convincingly, that almost never happens. As someone who greatly favors the single player experience, it's just about everything I could have hoped for. I guess there are those out there who just don't get it. That's fine, but sad. Because everyone deserves to feel the same kind of joy I'm currently feeling. I better save up for those figurines, cause y'all got me in one hell of a good mood. A victory screech once again for old THQ. And now, give it up for the high tier patrons. Panther J, Tubazone 1989, Diamond Ice, Skellington 977, Mathtron 5000, Goldsbro TSG, Thomas Drury, Lucario Smash 246, God Falking Dammit, Alfredo Jones, Love, Sephi 90, Zero Z, Jake Arenstom, Morgan Arvite, Evie Girl 16, BF Rio, John the Pink, Renaku, Lord of Shadow, Cortamanch 437, Azazel The Undying, Cody Thomas, Peter Shepard, Solitaire Seamus, Christopher, GTY 200, Belkin, Michael Boyd, Steve, Masao, Exaox, put 9V in Smash Bros please, Arctic Kaiju, Gaming Griffin, Burn 100B, Patrick Sandlin, Maze Arcana, Jinxiest, Kyle Wee 21, Ray the Snivy, Douglas Jenkins, Blue 9999, Eddie Toxpin, Sonic Septile Warrior, Nathaniel Sterling, Dova Shakan, Alan, Charles Meeker II, Fencer De Rio, Andrew Weston, Roberto Del Fuego, Shiro THR, Troubled Trombone, A4X Guy, Pikachu Crusher 26, Crocodile King 25, Zay Zandaler, Alexander Gradesh, Philip Cross, The Bonding Traveler, Shade 2800, Lucky 13130, Nightmare Steel, and Grandmaster Augustus. May we meet again.